Welcome back, everybody, to another live stream. And today we've got a special guest. We're going to be talking with Taylor from DT Swiss, and we're going to do a live unboxing of these guys. We've got some sweet, I believe these are the 1600 Spline gravel wheels that they came out with recently. And of course, they are 650B. But before we get going, I do want to thank our Patreon supporters for making this content possible. You guys support us every month. And you make it possible for us to show up, have awesome guests, bike reviews, all that good stuff. You may notice some interesting new Party Pace branding here in the front and also behind me. Yes, we've got some kind of fun new stickers or an homage to Bridgestone. I think a lot of our viewers are going to be familiar with the Bridgestone as a bike brand. And we thought we'd do a Party Pace logo, stickers, patches maybe to come. Not yet on the store. We're going to have that soon. I'm actually just waiting on some enamel pins. We've got some other fun merch coming up. But today, we're going to talk about gravel wheels, how they're different from road wheels, and in particular, a little bit about the history of DT Swiss and their thought process behind the brand. And we're joined today by our friend Taylor. Taylor, say hi.
Hello, everyone.
Cool.
Welcome.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us on the live stream today.
Yeah, not a problem to be here.
Nice. Well, for those that may not be familiar with DT Swiss, can you give us kind of a really quick brand history?
Yeah, DT Swiss actually, DT Swiss as we know it started in 1994 as a management buyout of United Bicycle Works, which is a spoke manufacturer. So DT started in its early day in 1994 with actually 3 SKUs, which was 3 different styles of spokes. And then as product development moved along, we purchased a patent from Willie Hoogie to make the Ratchet Star Ratchet system hub that added to the portfolio in 96, 97 roughly. And then we just kept going from there. You start making spokes and hubs, then you have to make hoops and make the whole wheel. So yeah, that's just the brief nuts and bolts there.
Yeah, and headquarters is in Switzerland?
Yeah, headquarters is in Biel, Switzerland, which is just 20 kilometers west of Bern, the capital. So just right there in the Jura Mountains, which is a nice testing ground for wheels.
Yeah, so you're in the US office. Where are you guys located?
Yeah, so we are here in Grand Junction, Colorado. And our facility here has been here almost 25 years, I would believe. Moved here in 97, 96, and started producing spokes to fulfill the domestic demand. And that was back in the day when Cannondale and Trek were building and assembling here. And as business in the United States and North America grew, we expanded this facility and are now building about 40,000 wheel sets a year to fulfill aftermarket and OE demands.
Oh, dang. How big is the staff in the US office?
We have about 50 employees. Okay. Most of those are in warehousing and in wheel building, but our sales offices and of course operations and planning are here in town. So,
yeah. When did DT Swiss start providing OEM wheels? Is that fairly recent, or it's been a while?
That's a good question. I don't know the exact time that we started getting into full wheel systems and started really pumping into the OE. I mean, we have been partner with many big OE brands supplying hubs and spokes and other components. But so DT it may be on your bicycle products and you may not know it and may be branded as something else. But yeah, we've been supplying to the OE for many number of years.
Cool. So I'm familiar, I feel like I've ridden some bikes that have at least DT Swiss hubs on them. And I've always noticed that there's some kind of like numbering system. There's 180, 240, 350. What's the difference when you see those hub numbers?
Yeah, so DT does it, I wouldn't say in the backwards way, but we do it with the smaller number references the higher quality product. So the 180 hub is the top of the line product for DT Swiss, and you move on to the 240, 350 hubs. And same thing goes with the wheels. You currently are going to be looking into the 1600 model, which falls, if you're familiar or viewers are familiar with a 350 level hub, the 1600 product line is around the 350 level quality wise.
Mm-hmm.
So it's for us, that 350 here in the States, that 350 1600 level product just seems to be like a great value for what you get.
Right. So what's, I guess, I mean, from like the user experience, what is there any big difference between like the 180 and the 350? Like what are we missing out on the nicer hubs?
So the 180 hub comes stock with ceramic bearings. The hub shell itself just has more reduction to it. And what I mean by that is the machining of the actual hub shell. The technology from the 180 to the 240 in the current line is the same technology. And this year is where we just bumped to the new Ratchet style. And so that is found in the 180 and the 240, and in the 350 product, you will find the standard Star Ratchet system. So just lighter, a little higher quality product in terms of the sink ceramic bearings that you'll find in there, and just more refined.
Yeah. Are the points of engagement the same, or are they different between the hub numbers?
So with that, the Star Ratchet system, there are different amount of teeth that you can put on the Star Ratchet that give you a different degree of engagement. With the term points of engagement, that is more relative to a PALD-based hub, where there's each individual part that clicks onto the ratchet ring. As a Star Ratchet drives forward, the whole system moves forward. So we're looking at degrees for our products, and there is a offering from 18 tooth, which gets you 20 degrees of engagement, all the way up to 54 teeth, which gives you 6.6 degrees of engagement. And there are two ratchets in between there at 36 tooth and 24, just for various options.
Yeah. When would you want kind of the narrower degrees of engagement?
When you're riding super technical terrain and there's a lot of hesitation pedals between chunky rock sections, and that is usually where most people like to up the engagement on a road or gravel base, where you're either consistently pedaling or coasting. The 36 and 18 tooth ratchets provide a little more durability in terms of longevity with lack of service, and still a really quality engaging hub. So.
Right. Do you know what the degree of engagement for these wheels are by any chance?
In those wheels, those are the 18 tooth ratchets, which are the 20 degrees of engagement. And with a product like that, many people choose to stick with the 18s on a road bike or a gravel bike scenario. But if you're going to be riding some tighter single track and feel that quicker engagement is necessary, then the hub is easily convertible, actually, with no tools. And I brought a hub, and we can even look into it if we wanted really quick, just to see what that looks like. But yeah, it's pretty quick swap.
Yeah, let's actually do that. Like that's one of the things that it's fascinated me about the hubs. It's like the lack of tools necessary. Can you just give us a tour of the hub?
Yeah, sure. So right here, what I have in my hand is just the hub that would be found in that wheel set right there. And I already took the end cap off, which requires nothing other than pulling hard on that, and the end cap falls off. If you would choose to ride a different group set, like something that involved a SRAM drivetrain where you needed the XDR, the end cap and free hub body, it would be what you need. But you simply pull the free hub body off, and it slides off, and make sure that little spring stays on there. Mm-hmm. And then there is a spring, and these little Star Ratchet are what you would swap out to get that better engagement. As you can see, there's a very light film of grease on there.
Right.
And then you slide that back on there. And let's say, we wanted to go to XDR. Let's put that one on there, and you pop it back into place, and you're ready to go. Sweet. So it's a pretty easy conversion.
Yeah, the most mediocre bike mechanic on the internet, and I feel comfortable pulling things.
Yeah, and if you wanted to clean and service your drive while your driving mechanism while your cassette's still on, there's no reason to take that off. It actually adds a little leverage to pull onto that free hub body, so you're not sliding on your hand on there. So it's a pretty quick swap to if you're out in the middle of nowhere and something's going on, you can take a quick look with no tools.
Right. So that's pretty cool that you could, upgrade this if to narrower degrees of engagement if you were so willing. Was that was the Star Ratchet or the Ratchet upgrade cost?
It depends on the number of teeth. I believe the 36 tooth, gosh, don't quote me on the price, somewhere between 70 and $80. And I would think that the 54 tooth is somewhere around $100, maybe a little more.
Right.
And it's honestly one of our hottest selling items is the Ratchet upgrade kit. So.
Yeah, that's nice. Like if I could see someone, buying this, maybe they don't want to go, whole hog, but they want to mess around with the wheels first and then maybe upgrade in the future, that you guys make that path to upgrading it pretty simple.
Yeah.
As it looks like.
And with the different free hub body options, they're future resistant. So we don't like to say proof, but they're definitely future resistant to any drivetrain group that's coming out. And as DT supplies to a big number of OEs, we're usually included early on in any type of new drivetrain update. So we're we're not maybe the first phone call, but we're not too far off second or third.
Nice. Yeah, I'm paranoid about like obsolescence all the time. So it's nice to know that this is it can keep
future
up with
resistant was in mind. Yeah, exactly.
Well, let's talk about, I'm a huge fan of 650B, being a shorter rider, and I'm not out to set a FKT, but I do like supple tires. When did DT Swiss start making or offering 650B wheels? Are these the first 650B available ones, or have you had them in the past?
Yeah, so with the introduction of the gravel segment from DT Swiss, that's the first real category where we brought 650B back into the equation. Of course, there was cross country mountain bike wheels in 27.5 that people were early experimenting with, but then you get into hub spacing and issues like that. So yeah, this is the first segment where 650B was a big focus. Right.
How do you think the industry is adopting it well, or are they still kind of resistant and going, why do we have to give up our 700 seeds?
It's a mixed bag on that one. I hear from a few of the traditionalist sites, who are more road bike based, and they say, there's 700C is the drop bar. 700C is for drop bar, but that's the beauty of gravel is that you could show up with whatever you brought, and you can just have a good time riding that. So I think there is definitely space for 650B. I'm currently riding 650B with like a 2.0 on the gravel bike, and it's a fun ride. It may not be the fastest, but if that's not your number one goal, then it's a great option.
Can I share with you my conspiracy theory as to why I think 650B has been so slowly adopted?
What's that?
And it is, I think, because most of the editors in all the bike publications are relatively tall.
That could be.
And I know this because like when I get a demo bike, it's always a special order to get a smaller size. Like they'll get
everyone's got 50, 56s, 58s in stock. It's when
So I think if all the editors of like bicycling, whatever, Velo News, cycling tips are 510, 511, they're not going to see any advantages of 650B. They're just go, oh, it's slow. But for me as a shorter rider, massive advantages in terms of like toe overlap and not getting like funky, super high trail road bike. So that is my conspiracy theory, people.
No, it's a good thought.
So if you can, you don't have to tell me on this live stream, but I'd be curious to know how many editors and like what their average height is.
I would say you're not too far off. I mean, they all seem to be decently tall, but there are some, gravity defying, not too many gravity defying editors.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's talk a little bit about the difference between like a road and a gravel wheel. Like, what are the considerations, and how would you design for one application or the other, or are they essentially the same?
Well, there are some subtle differences, of course. Especially the inner rim width is a big factor to it. Knowing that these specific wheels were designed around a wider rim platform to do a couple different things. It helps improve the rolling resistance, and that was one of the things that was thought about in the development of these wheels. Helps improve the traction by being able to lower air pressure, and then it's adding to the comfort, giving kind of reducing the noise of the road. So that was definitely into the thought of that, as well as just compliance in a wheel. Road bikes are known for being when you step on the gas, they go forward, and there's not too much chatter resistance, and that's the thought behind these wheels.
Yeah. What makes a wheel stiff or compliant? Is that spoke tension, spoke count, spoke lacing, or is it the rim?
It can be a number of things. The rim material as well as the rim itself. Just with different different styles, of course, joining the rim, different box sections of the rim. With these wheels, there's a 24 hole spoke count, and with these specific wheels, they do have a bladed spoke. You know, for those riders who maybe aren't going for that specific aerodynamic effect, bladed spokes also do have a different ride quality. They're very stiff in the pedaling forward, but they do allow a little bit more compliance right to left. So those types of things were thought about using this newer gravel segment from DT.
Right. So we got an interesting question here in the YouTube chat. You can't see it, but I will relay the question. It is from Kevin K. And he asks, is there a difference between, say, a cyclocross wheel and a gravel wheel?
In DT's segment, that's a great question, Kevin. Thanks. In DT's segment, yes, there is. And we actually did some side-by-side comparisons of our products of DT's gravel wheel versus DT's cyclocross wheel. And of course, cyclocross, there is a very important thing that the tire measures 33 C every time you go to the start block, because they put one of those little things on your tire. So the cyclocross wheel segment is based around a 22 mil inner rim width, where our gravel wheel segment is based around the 24 mil. So that 22 just ensures you get a 33 every time, and the 24 gives a little more support to a wider tire.
Right. What's the widest you could go with these? These are 24 internal. Like, how wide is too wide?
I would say, I should have had that pulled up, what we recommend on our website. But I believe it's somewhere between 2.1 and 2.3, which is quite wide. I know that's a big variance, and excuse me for that. But I'm currently running 2.1s on the 24 650 wheel, and they're holding up just fine. Once you start getting too much wider than that, unless you're on a bike that has a lot of clearance, I think you could outcash the bike faster than you can outcash the wheel itself.
Right. Cool. Sweet. Well, we're about 15 minutes into this live stream. If you're watching on YouTube, we've got about 75 people in the room. If you have any questions for DT Swiss, let me know in the comment section, and also let us know where you're watching from. I see that there are some people in the Zoom room here. Again, these are our Patreon supporters, and one of the special perks is they get to ask their own questions. Does anyone have a question so far before we jump into the wheels? If you guys have a question, raise your little blue hand, and I will pass the mic to you guys. All right, looking at the chat, we've got Alex from Hollywood. Sweet. Alex also says GCN and GMBN guys look reasonably tall. Yes.
They sure do,
yeah. Let's see, Jaspreet Sidhu asks, straight pull benefits versus bent spokes on the carbon.
Yeah, that's a great question. So with that, part of the name of this product says Spline in there, and that's represents our straight pull line of products. With the thought here, straight pull spokes reduce one bend in the spoke, so it reduces a fatigue spot close to the hub, as well as it allows for faster assembly and production here at DT Swiss. I know some shops don't necessarily have the same tooling that we do, and that's where the J-bend spokes can be a little better, thought for a product. But in a system wheel, this allows for, as the manufacturer of the hub, the spoke, the nipple, and the rim, to make the strongest product that we can in the quickest amount of time.
Gotcha. Cool. So you just mentioned something pretty interesting. I mean, is that one of like the key value propositions of DT Swiss? Why you would buy a DT Swiss as opposed to another wheel, is like you're kind of vertically integrated with all the different parts of the wheel?
That's exactly it. DT, one of our pride and joys is owning as much of the production process as we can, and that allows for the tightest quality control. And a Swiss brand, Swiss precision is the name of the game there. So keeping really tight tolerances on the wheel builds themselves, keeping the radial and the lateral run out as we're manufacturing these here in Junction, or if it's at any of our facilities globally, we're all held up to the same standards. So that's something else to know, is that if you get a DT product from anywhere around the globe, that it's manufactured to the exact same quality standard globally. So.
Right. I'm a little bit of a watch nerd, and I do have a couple watches with Swiss movements, and they're very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you looked at the inside of the hub, it's not too far off some gears on the inside of the watch. And oddly enough, Tissot, Omega, and Rolex are just down the street in the same town as DT Swiss. So.
Oh man, that's baller! If you guys ever do a factory tour, you should let me know.
Yeah.
Let's see if we have any other questions here. We've got NX Ross from rainy Vancouver. Kevin, thanks you for the explanation. He says he has a G1800 and was curious about the difference, I'm assuming, between these.
Yeah. So the G1800 is, I wouldn't call it it is DT's entry level to a system wheel. And that system actually features our DT's 3-pulse system, which has about 20 degrees of engagement as well, but it uses a standard base pulse system. The rim is a sleeved jointed rim versus a welded rim. And that is something, it's just the way in which we bond the rim extrusion together. The wheels that we're going to unbox today, after that sleeve is in there, then it is a weld finish on there to create a seamless. And with a G1800, it's still tubeless, even with that seam in there. It's just a little quicker to manufacture in that way. So the hub and the rim used, the spokes will be the same. So it's the hub and the rim, main difference.
Cool. Nice. Let's see. So Jasper has another question. He asks, since most straight pulls have a taper, does that increase the fatigue on the spokes?
In terms of taper, what are we talking, like the taper into the hub itself, or the butting profile of the spoke? Unfortunately, I don't know which one we're.
I'm not sure. Maybe he'll get back to us. Let's see. We've got
Right.
Numenaire here from Bellingham, Washington.
Welcome.
And Alex asks from Hollywood, will there ever be an upgrade option for the 370 hub?
Ooh, that's a great question. I cannot answer that one today. So with that, I think you have your answer.
All right. Wait and see the answer. So you guys in the Zoom, if anyone has questions about the wheels, if not, I will get to the unboxing portion, which is probably
What
more
the people came for.
Yeah, I know. Give the people what they want.
Exactly.
So I'm going to switch cameras here, a little bit wider view. By the way, something GCN cannot do is live multicam switching.
Which is fancy stuff. We're working there too.
Yeah, I may not be as tall as them, GCN, but I've got a fun video switcher. Okay, so we're looking at the front wheel here. Let me grab the magic of the camcorder, and I will unwrap it before your very eyes.
So with that right there, I am going to throw out one quick tidbit. Okay. Sometimes the tubeless valve, because yes, these wheels come taped tubeless and come with valves to set them up tubeless. Sometimes that valve is in a little pocket that is on that plastic that you just pulled off. So make sure if you do not locate the valve in the box, you check in a tiny little pocket on that plastic for it. Otherwise, our customer service team does get a few of those calls. Just an FYI.
Okay, good pro tip. I will. I'm gonna back the camera out here. Come on! Oh no, it's locked in now. Great. Don't move. Okay, I'm gonna check the box. This is so exciting. Yeah, I see it.
All right.
It was in the plastic. So pro tip, guys. the plastic are we on?
It's quite secure in there.
It is. It's very secure. This is that Swiss precision at work.
Oh, I don't know. Don't know about that. But why not?
All right. You guys know what a valve stem looks like. Here it is. Also looks like it comes with a little wrench to kind of secure the lock nut.
Yeah, to make sure that Presto valve is all the way screwed in there. It's just underneath the little black cap right there. Yeah.
Cool. What else? So it's already pre-taped, which is nice. Kind of a how would you describe this finish? It's
I would call it almost like a sandblasted finish to it on there, and that's something that DT's welded alloy rims have to it, is that finish to them.
Yeah, it's definitely not. There we go. Come on. It's got a little bit more of a matte finish, not super glossy and shiny. Bladed spokes. So you spoke about this. Dangers of the bladed spokes again?
They can be hard to hold if you are ending up if you don't have the tool holder there. For those, they can twist. But what I will say is they do give the wheel a good compliant ride while also being stiff when you pedal forward. So a lot of radial support, but a little bit of lateral deflection.
Gotcha. I'm digging these kind of like organic looking cuts here in the hub. It's pretty slick.
Yeah, with our and that particular hub, yes, that is the 350 hub, but that is a hub that you can only get when you source a system wheel. So if you were to buy a 350 hub a la carte, it would look a little different than that. And that's just something that we save. We save the A+ material for our in-house systems.
Right. Gotcha. Cool. What else should we know about this wheel?
If you pull on those end caps right there, you can see that they will pull on that black end cap. Oh, oops, sorry about that. These ones are actually the shaky end caps. But what you can do is those pop off, and you can plug on a QR end cap if you need, if you're running a disc brake QR. And what else will I say? The rim, you will notice that there is a water slide decal to that. It is not a vinyl decal. It is something that is actually baked in onto the wheel. So it provides a really sturdy and pretty scratch resistant decal. The pitfall there is it cannot come off. So if you are one that likes to color match, I know there are third-party vendors that you can get color matching decals that would lay over that, but unfortunately they do not come off, which fortunately unfortunate right there. So
cool.
Yeah, that's
so let's that is the front wheel. Should we weigh it? So I was in the conversation with another wheel builder. Apparently there's no standard in terms of like how they report wheel weights. Is that true? Some people do it taped with the
I don't know about that.
With the valve thing, and some brands want to.
I would say that one would chalk right up next to how do you weigh your bike? Do you weigh it with your pedals and your water bottle and your tool roll, or do you take your pedals and all of the accessories off and weigh it? So I think there's multiple ways.
Right. Well, let's since I've got the scale here, and people are inevitably going to ask how much this weighs. This is already taped up sans rotor, obviously, and valve stem. And this is 1.61 gins, 28.4 ounces, or 805 grams for the front wheel. So for you people that are inevitably going to ask, what does it weigh? That's what the front wheel weighs.
Yeah, and I have our website up right here. Our website says our front wheel in 650B right there should weigh 799 grams. So we are 6 grams, which I would imagine that tape is plenty more than 6 grams.
Yeah. So well within reason. At least it's not like a 100-gram difference, people.
Yeah.
Let's see if there are any questions here. So some people, so Jaspreet Sidhu says Reynolds does everything taped.
Good to know.
He says there's no standard Campagnolo ways without hub end caps. I kind of feel like that's cheating. Like it's got to be somewhat a functional wheel.
Be able to, yeah. If you tipped it over, if it all falls apart, then
yeah. Let's see. Kyle Hoover asked, "Are these gravel specific?" Yes, they are. They are gravel specific. Let's see. So Alex asked, which model would you suggest for a touring bike? I was actually surprised at the weight limit of these. I looked it up and you guys say 130 kilograms. So that's 286 pounds. That's a fair amount of load that these wheels should be able to take.
Yeah. So that's exactly it. And in my mind, it just depends on the bike. This wheel right here has bike packing in mind. So if you're going to be loading down your bike and it'd be relatively in this weight range, then this would be a decent wheel for that option. Yeah.
Right.
And what I will also mention is DT has an impact rating for products. It's independent of its system rating, and it's not DT's classification, but it's the ASTM classification. This one falls in the ASTM classification of 2, which is one step above impact resistance of a road wheel and one step below impact resistance of a trail wheel.
Cool. What wheels would you suggest for like a plus size 27.5 bike? Probably that'd be in your mountain bike line for sure.
Yeah, that would be in the mountain bike line. And once we get that into the plus wheels for mountain bikes, DT has options of a 35 mil inner rim width and a 40 mil. So the first question is what is the intended use and what is the tire use? And if you're going to go above 3.5, I would imagine 40 would be the option. If you're going to be around 3 to 3.5 inch, then that 35 could be a good option as well.
Cool. All right. So looking in the chat, we've got someone from Serbia in the chat room, someone from Singapore, another person from Vancouver. Definitely let us know where you're watching from. I'm always so fascinated who tunes in.
Yeah.
We've got just under 100 people in the chat. If you guys have any questions about DT Swiss at the brand or these wheels in particular, definitely ask away.
Yeah.
NX Ross asks, is the rim brake dead? Are you guys still making rim brake rims and wheels? Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Rim brake are still found in our performance line of wheels. And there are, wheels from entry-level alloy wheels all the way up to super high-end carbon wheels with a rim brake option. And we do have a few trekking rims, specific trekking rims that actually have, a third support bar down the middle. So it's a box section with one more piece in the middle. And those do come in the rim brake option as well.
All right, cool. Here's an interesting question. Husky Lads FC asks, what is the smallest, we've talked about the widest tire that you could put on this. What would be the smallest tire that you could use on this rim before it starts to get a little squirrely?
I wouldn't tend to run anything lower than a 35 on that, just because you're starting to get pretty narrow there. And what I would say is that starts to give you that low pro look on, the really shallow look like you can get on those, hot rod type vehicles. And that just adds to little quicker punctures and things of that nature. So sticking between above 33 would probably be a good option.
Yeah. Let's see. Space here asks, wants a little bit more clarification. You talked earlier about sleeve versus welded. Other than construction, like what other differences are there? Is there a weight difference? Is there a performance difference? What do people lose or gain by going as sleeved or welded?
So welded allows to bring the rim. Of course, you're sealing that open cavity. So I wouldn't say tubeless is more challenging on a sleeve jointed rim. What you do have to focus on is making sure that tape goes up the sides of the walls, and so that the tire and the tape isolate the rim from the equation. That is something to keep in mind with that sleeve jointed rim. And I would say just the durability. If you smack a sleeve jointed rim right on the sleeve, it won't hold up as well as a welded rim. You know, if you smack any aluminum product hard enough, it will dent, it will bend. That's the nice part of aluminum, is you're not SOL if you're if you do that sort of thing. And yeah, so that's the big difference there, is just overall durability.
Right. Cool. So blue collar backcountry asks, regarding the weight limit, is 286 pounds a rating per wheel or per set? I'm assuming that's going to be for the pair. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the system set. So that is your bicycle plus gear plus body is what that rating is for, and that is for a set of wheels. Yes.
Okay. Let's see what else. Ryan Witt, Patreon supporter, asks, for off-road touring, would you recommend trail wheels over gravel wheels?
Off-road touring, it depends how groomed or not groomed that off-road is. If you're going to be doing something like the Colorado Trail, where it is technically a trail, but I would say that is aggressive riding, so that'd be more mountain. The biggest difference you're going to get with a mountain wheel versus a road or gravel specific product is going to be that impact resistance. There is not much difference, or if any, depending on the product, from system rating. So how much you can carry, it's just how hard you can hit it on a rock is the difference there. So.
Gotcha. So Ryan, if you're going to get super rad, get the mountain bike wheels.
If you got a dropper post on your drop bar, then you know, might as well.
Yeah. Let's see. Do we have any questions in the Zoom room? Raise your hand and I'll transfer you guys over. If not, you guys in the YouTube chat, let's see, there are 105 people in the chat room right now. If you're digging this video, give it a thumbs up. Really helps the video. And if you have any other questions, I will relay them to Taylor here. Any Zoom questions? No. Ryan says, yes, time to get rad. Okay. Okay, so we're looking at the rear wheel. I'm going to swap cameras. I've got so many windows open right now, it's ridiculous. So this one is set up for 11-speed road. And these end caps I can pull out?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can pull on those end caps. It may be pretty sturdy on there.
It's pretty sturdy. Oh, there you go. I got one out.
That's usually the MO, yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So what other end caps are available? Like what other hub dimensions can I adapt these to?
So with that one, you're currently 142 by 12. If your bike takes 135 by QR, that would be the end cap swap. If you are looking for a campy drivetrain, or if you are looking for XDR, the right side end cap and free hub body would have to come off. So it just helps with the what did I say? Future resistance. And on the front wheel, if you have a bike that needs 15 mil, then those can be swapped out as well.
Gotcha. So these, again, I'm not going to do it because
yeah, you could
go wrong.
Yeah, and this is what I mentioned. If you have the cassette on, it actually gives you a little more purchase.
Okay.
And it can be cleaned, greased, swapped ratchets if things are already installed.
Yeah. Do you guys have? I know when I try to do any repairs, I try to look for, or I hope that the manufacturer has some kind of like technical documents or instructional videos. Do you guys have any of that stuff on? I know it seems super easy, but do you have videos or stuff like that for the user?
Yeah, under the technologies page on DT's website, there is the Star Ratchet system, and that does break down the difference and how to do those sorts of things. How many parts are actually involved in the moving system, and there's an exploded diagram of how they should all go back together in there. So
nice. This diagram is very, very handy for mediocre mechanics like myself.
Yeah, and there's not too much that can go wrong to cause the system to not roll. If you order of operations is somewhat important to when reassembling the hub, and if you do it incorrectly, then you can cause an issue. But there's there's actually, I think our customer service team has a checklist of like 7 different things. And I know if I say that, someone's going to ask a question, what are the 7? I don't know off the top of my head, but yeah, there's a really low number of things that can go wrong.
Yeah, cool. So I'm going to bump up the exposure on the camera just because I think I locked it in and it's getting dark here because of winter. So while I'm doing that, let's see if there's any questions you can ask here or answer here. Ethan Brackett says, check your Instagram. There's a message. I cannot check it at the moment because I'm doing the stream. Everything's taken up. Any questions in the Zoom? None? Brian always has a question. Come on, Brian. Not today. No, okay. Let you off the hook.
Calling them out.
Right. It's been one of the fun things about doing these live streams is there's been kind of a type of folks that do sign in. Again, we've gotten to know them at least virtually, and Brian usually has some really good questions. But let's see. So Brad asks, so Kyle asks, is there an ideal spoke count for road, gravel, or mountain biking? Do spoke counts matter as much as what the spokes are or the lacing pattern?
Yeah, that's a great question. Spoke count is one of those things that does add into the difference of the ride compliance, as we were talking about. So most of our system, DT's mountain bike system wheels are around a 28 hole, where our disc brake road and gravel wheels feature a 24 hole count. And if you go rim brake, then you can get different hole counts. On the rear wheels on a rim brake, they do a 2-to-1 lacing on the back. But with most road and gravel wheels from DT outside of aftermarket rim drillings, they're going to be a 24 hole. So okay. That's the ideal with DT's mentality on the gravel side, and 28 on the mountain.
Yeah. See, we've got Brad here from Vancouver. Ped inner width is 24. What's
24?
What's external or the outer on these guys?
I do not know that one off the top of my head. Let's see if I can pull it up really quick. The outer width is 28 millimeters.
Okay, outer width. I was going to grab my digital calipers, but that saves me the trouble. Let's see, any other questions? Husky Lads FC ask, what sort of road and or gravel wheels would you recommend for a Husky Lad? I'm asking for a friend.
That's a great question. If being outside of the system rating on these products right here is something that a rider would fall under, then looking at our e-bike specific products, we do actually have what DT Swiss calls hybrid. Hybrid is part U, part bike. So DT's e-bike wheel line is considered the hybrid wheel line. We actually have a hybrid gravel wheel. So it's an HG product that would be the equivalent to that has a little higher system rating. So that may be a good option as well.
So how in the e-bike line, like what's changed to make
that's a great question. So the hub is designed around an oversized bearing, so increases the life there. The spoke hole drilling is actually for a 234, so the hub requires a bigger spoke. We actually do taper that back down to a 2.0 spoke nipple, so it allows for a standard tool. And the rim bed itself is reinforced where the spoke holes are drilled to prevent cracking around where the spokes interface. With that, it does have a higher system rating, but the impact resistance will still be the same. So,
okay. So is it beefed up for e-bike use, anticipating, that they're going to be used for cargo bikes, or is it because of potential torque from the motor?
Yeah, it's if you have extra 250 watts, I know this isn't a watt counting channel, but that's just added wear to the product. And because of the electric assist, the thought of that bike is to get further in the same amount of time. So the wear and tear on the product will be exponential.
Yeah. So Husky Lads also asks, what is the weight crossover roughly where someone should be start looking at the e-bike wheels? So let's say they're riding a bike, maybe it's like 30 or 40 pounds. What's the body weight where they probably start looking in that direction?
If the bike was 40 pounds and the rider was above 250, then maybe the e-bike product would be a good look there. Once you start getting the system above the 300-pound mark, that's where, and system, I mean bicycle gear rider, that e-specific product could be a good option even for acoustic bicycles, you know?
Right, acoustic bicycle. I love that term.
yeah. If we're gonna call it electric, we might as well call it acoustic.
Right. Let's see. Any other questions in the YouTube chat? Ask away and let us know where you're watching from. Let's see. How long have these wheels been available? Are these a new product or have they been around for a bit?
Yeah, that's a great question. This product was actually launched in June of 2019. So it has been floating around for about a full year now. It is actually one of our hottest selling products. And what I would say is in the aftermarket, that 650B wheel in your hand is one of the highest sellers. My thoughts there is because most bikes are coming 700C and everyone is trying to break the mold of those tall media outlet folks and try out the 650B product. So yeah, it's been about just over a year.
Yeah, cool. Have there been any iterations to the wheel or has it essentially stayed the same since its initial launch?
Yeah, since its initial launch, it stayed the same. There is a carbon fiber model one above that one called the GRC 1400, and as one of the viewers mentioned, there is a G1800 as well. So, and if you're wondering, the GRC gravel road carbon, gravel road, and then gravel. So the hierarchy there is pretty
self-explanatory. Okay. So Ryan's watching from Southern California. So Sam D'Angelo asks, why doesn't DT Swiss include 54 tooth star ratchet as standard versus 18 tooth?
That is another good question. I know many of DT's OE partners come 54 out of the gates. With that, DT feels that the product it can be upgraded if necessary. It comes with 18 tooth ratchets because you don't know where that product's going to be used, and 18 tooth is the longest lasting with the least amount of service required. So it is it can run for a long time without service with 18 tooth. The finer tooth count you get, the more service is required. It doesn't need more grease. It just needs cleaned and wiped sooner. So if you are going to be out in the middle of nowhere, riding the 18 tooth would be the better thought there. With the GRC 1400 model, that does come stock with the 36 tooth ratchet. So,
okay. So that's good to know that there is some kind of cost benefit that, more teeth doesn't mean just better all across the board, but there are some kind of some other things to consider.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see, you got T-Track watching from San Antonio, Texas. And let's see, it's pretty cool. I feel like I'm learning so much about wheels today.
Yeah, it's usually pretty good information when you're sitting down like this, huh? Yeah, good.
So Ethan asks, will we ever see a higher end DT Swiss hub other than the 180, something like a DT Swiss 90?
A DT Swiss 90. Well, the quick thought there is the DT hubs, those numbers, when there wasn't a crazy amount of hub specs, actually related to a weight of that product. And the 180 hub currently, I think, weighs 183 grams in the boost setup. So we're pretty close there. And I don't know if we can get it down much, much lighter than that at the moment. But
right, you need like graphene or some,
yeah, exactly, a different material maybe. Yeah.
Let's see, any other questions? Cool. So when you guys came out with this wheel, like who was the rider you were envisioning?
With this specific wheel, the GR 1600, it is the adventure rider. This wheel wasn't designed to be the aerodynamic gravel wheel. That was the GRC 1400. That specific wheel was designed for comfort, durability, and reliability. So that's why you get the 18-tooth ratchets, those the little wider profile for the comfort, and that's exactly where this wheel was for, is that adventure category.
Yeah. Cool. So definitely in line with what we do on the channel here, riding party pace and taking the stuff off road.
Party pace, I like it.
It's the next big it is the next big hashtag. Let's see, what else was I going to ask? So, one of the things that people tend to obsess over is wheel weight. Like, how important is it? When should people not care?
So my first thought on that mentality there would be, if you can get a wheel to support your riding style, then weight is the next thought. You could always get a lighter wheel set by decreasing that inner rim width. But at what point are you moving yourself out of the segment of tires that you want to run? So, that you could always drill holes in things, but does that make it more durable to get the weight down? So with DT, that's something that we're always going to keep in mind, is the durability and reliability of the product is number one, and then refining the weight down after that is the next step, unless you're talking about those super high-end wheels, that the free hub bearings are extra small because they've drilled out the space in there, and those free hub bodies are designed for 500 miles. Most people don't replace them after that X amount of time, so then that's when issues come, is when you move past that lifespan. So I would say with this wheel here, the first thought is durability, reliability, and then weight comes in a close second place.
Right. Where do you think this falls weight wise when compared to like a OEM wheel that you would get, like if you bought like a Surly or something? Are they lighter or par, or?
I would definitely say a little bit lighter. Most OE wheels you're going to get that have a name brand rim are going to have a generic Paul based hub, and they're going to come somewhere from 18 to 2,000 grams. And these ones are definitely they're close to, I think, 1,600 grams if we're doing the math right, 1,700 grams. So you are shaving half a pound of rotating mass, which definitely helps. And there can always be a lighter option, but at what point do you sacrifice durability? And this is where we find that a price point, durability, reliability cross right here.
Right. So we got a question here from T-Track, and he asked, does DT Swiss have hubs with ceramic? He doesn't say whether they're ceramic bearings or if the free hub body is coated. Do you have like a ceramic coated free hub body option?
We do have one wheel set that is a ceramic coated wheel, and it's DT refers to that as our Oxic products. Mm-hmm. So I think there is a free hub body that comes stock on that wheel that would be ceramic. But we do, the 180 hub series has ceramic bearings inside, and those are our Sync ceramic bearings. So those would be the answer to both if we're.
Yeah. Like, do you sell the hub body aftermarket, and would it mate with this, or is that just a completely different?
Yeah. So a Star Ratchet, I do not know if it's sold by itself. If I'm not sure why you'd want a ceramic free hub itself. We do offer a steel free hub bodies if there is a big Clydesdale rider that can pit a aluminum free hub body, depending on the cassette on the carrier. How that interface is, but the free hub body options are pretty vast.
Cool. Well, I think I'll ask one more question, and that is, what is the in terms of customer service, like, is there a warranty, or what kind of protections are there for the user here?
Yeah, well, with our aluminum, I believe there's a two-year manufacturer defect warranty on there. Customer service wise, we're actually pretty liberal with our customer service. There is, if there's a mishap and something gets bent, broken, usually we ask the wheel to return, and we have about 48-hour turnaround as of right now, which is our busiest time. So that's a decent turnaround. And we usually are, if we get a wheel and the bearings are toast on there and they didn't send it in for the bearings, we'll swap out the bearings in most cases and get you a new rim and get you on your way. So it's a pretty liberal system on that. And yeah, but as for a 2-year manufacturing defect warranty.
Gotcha. Have you guys been pretty well insulated in terms of supply chain during COVID, because you make all the parts, or has it thrown you guys some curveballs as well?
Yeah, so that has allowed us to be pretty deep in our supply, but the bike industry isn't that big of an industry. So when other people are having challenges, people are shopping out for who can fulfill those orders. So we have seen a crazy amount of uptake in OE demand as well as aftermarket demand. So things are, with supply and demand, there's a lot of demand. So we're doing our best to keep up with supply. But these products should be floating around through your local bike shop, and DT does support the distribution model. So we do not sell direct at this moment. And and sourcing through your local bike shop is one of the best ways to get our product.
Right. Cool. Any last minute questions from Zoom? If not,
anyone curious what the DT stands for?
Yeah, I'd be curious.
Maybe. All right, I'm going to butcher this, and my coworkers in Switzerland are going to laugh at me later. But Biel, the town that DT Swiss is in, is known as the bilingual town. And DT, the D stands for Drahtwerke, which is drawn wire in German, and Trafilier, which is drawn wire, or I believe it's drawn wire in French. So it is Drahtwerk Trafilier Swiss. And I butchered that, and they're going to laugh at me via email later, but it's just fine.
Nice. Cool. I've always wondered. I forgot to ask. Let's see. All right. Well, I think with that, I think I'm going to take us home. Do you have any last minute words for our viewers? We've still got about 110 people in here. So.
No, other than thank you guys for following along. Feel free to reach out to our customer service line. And if you mention Taylor, they'll probably pass that email over to me. There's not too many of us here in Grand Junction, man in the line. So I'd be happy to talk with you guys later if you have any questions. So feel free to reach out.
Cool. All right. Well, with all that, I want to thank Taylor again for joining us on this live stream. Sorry for the weird start. I think there was some weird YouTube setting. I'm going to probably edit that part out when this gets hosted. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I will be putting these wheels through its paces in a couple of weeks. Laura and I are going to take the minivan, and we're going to do some road tripping, riding through the South and through California and all this stuff. And I think I'm going to be taking these wheels along with. So you'll see lots of video with them, and be able to give you guys some longer term impressions. What else? Next week's live stream, we've got the fun one. We're going to be doing a live stream with the folks over at I can't believe I blanked, over at Defeat Socks, based in North Carolina. We're gonna do a collab. We're actually gonna make some party paste socks, and you guys will help us decide if they are going to be teal or pink. But we're gonna go full on 90s with these socks. They're gonna be cool. But we're gonna learn all about the science of cycling socks, kind of the engineered mesh and how they make it in the US, all that good stuff. So stay tuned for that next week. And tomorrow we are going to have an alternative cycling network. So if you're not subscribed to that channel, check it out. I think we might talk about the Poseidon Redwood now that we've all had a chance to kind of throw a leg over it. With all that said, thanks again for joining us tonight. And thank you, Taylor, once again for joining us in the live stream.
Thank you guys. You guys have a nice evening.
Yeah. And as always, everybody, keep the supple side down. And end.